What's up, guys? Carolina Jackpot checking in. I wanted to recap really quick some of the action from over the weekend. Our picks and predictions for week number 3 of the college football season. Had an interesting slate of games yesterday, and did not do quite as well on the picks this week as I did in week 2. Went 12-8 in week 2 against the spread last night. Actually went 8 for 12, or 8 and 12 in my 20 games. So if we're adding up week 2 and 3 together right now, I'm standing here at 20 and 20. Yeah, 20 and 20, exactly 500 through 2 weeks. So hopefully I'll pull out some decent wins for us in the next few weeks here. These games do get easier to pick, in my opinion, as the season goes on. Some noteworthy ones here that I wanted to talk about, some ones I gaffed on. This one, I did feel Oklahoma State's one of the best teams in the country. They absolutely blew Pitt out of the water yesterday. Tennessee and Florida, that one was just, a lot of my friends and I were in a group on Facebook where we pick games every week. There were a lot of people yesterday that went 1 and 4, me included. We picked Tennessee, Florida, Kentucky, South Carolina, Clemson, Louisville, LSU, and Mississippi State, and USC and Texas. And there were a ton of us that went 1 and 4. So there's that. My lock, stock, and 2 smoking barrels pick was UNC at Old Dominion. UNC to cover the 7.5 point spread, which has actually grown to over 10 points, I think, by kickoff. UNC dismantled Old Dominion. I don't know what these guys are thinking. They got Virginia Tech on the schedule next week on the road at Lane Stadium, and Virginia Tech is a hell of a lot better than UNC is. Prayers sent to Monarch Nation on that one. I hope you guys, hope the experiment, whatever you're doing, works out for you. I don't know if they're looking for a big payday or if they're just trying to toughen up the program, maybe. I could see them becoming something down the road, something like a South Florida, just an expansion type. Not expansion, that's a team that has had a basketball program for years, but they just recently kind of got into football in the past 10 years, and they're making strides. Army at Ohio State was another one that, I barely missed that one. Army, as I figured, hung with Ohio State, and it was a tough game until about the middle of the third quarter, and then superior power and depth just took over. Kind of like also in the Louisiana Lafayette Texas A&M game, same deal, tie game in the third quarter, and then the Aggies flexed their muscle. LSU at Mississippi State was a surprising ending to that one, or a surprising outcome, I should say. It wasn't really a surprising ending. Mississippi State actually absolutely blistered their ass. I mean, it was 37-7. Nick Fitzgerald ran for a ton of yards. They look good. And you come away from that wondering, was Mississippi State that good or is LSU that bad? It's probably a little bit of a combination of both. I think Mississippi State is solidly the second best team in the SEC West. LSU obviously is not. Auburn, terrible. They no offense whatsoever. Texas A&M, garbage. Arkansas, not very good. Who's left? I mean, Mississippi State has been solid, and that's the second best team in the SEC West behind Alabama, who is not moving out of that first place position anytime soon, in my opinion. What was going to say here? Had a thought in my head real quick, but it escaped me. Oh yeah, Georgia. Georgia thinks that they're going to come into Sanford Stadium this coming Saturday. Mississippi State is, and they're just going to have their way with them. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's a bunch of Bulldogs, the Maroon Bulldogs from Stark Vegas, or whatever they call that place down there. I think they're going to come into Sanford Stadium and upset Georgia next weekend. I don't think Georgia is what they think they are, very overrated. Georgia State and Penn State, 58-0 win by Penn State. Georgia State, absolutely horrible. Penn State could be playoff bound. Here's one that I could also kick myself over, K-State at Vanderbilt. You see here, I had K-State picked to lose this game or I had Vanderbilt picked to cover the spread anyway earlier in the week, and I just didn't have Coney's to take them. I should have Kansas State. A Bill Snyder coach team, anytime you beat them, you've actually done something. Vanderbilt, that's probably their biggest win they've had in 30 years up there. And I feel good for them, not just because they're in the SEC, because they're an underdog. And I had feared of this happening over the summer. I had feared that Vanderbilt was going to be much more improved than they were last year. They returned all their skill players. Kyle Shermer, Ralph Webb's back. They got a couple of good receivers, and they always play tough. They may be the second best team, honestly, in the SEC East behind Georgia right now. It's obviously not Tennessee or Florida. Both those teams are they're both dumpster fires. Speaking of dumpster fires, South Carolina, Kentucky, absolutely abysmal performance last night by the Gamecocks. Offensive line, trash. Defensive line, trash. Pass rush, abysmal. Jake Bentley, horrible. Running game, non-existent. It was just a terrible performance all the way around. I was not happy with that at all last night. Being a Gamecock fan and supporter, losing a game like that's just pathetic. You've lost to them 3 years in a row, and then we just come out 80+ thousand there. The place was sold out. We never sell out for Kentucky. The place was sold out. Everybody wore black, blackout, sell out, night game, and go out there and just absolutely get just beat down. It was terrible. Debo Samuel was the only bright spot of the game, and then hell, he got injured in the third quarter, broke his lower ankle. They're saying he's going to be out 5 to 6 weeks. That's what he had tweeted out last night at the post-game press conference. Coach Boom actually said that he was going to be out for the year. Hopefully that's not the case, and he will be back for like the last 3 games or so of the season, because we're definitely going to need him. We're going to take some more L's too before he comes back. That game last night just really just soured me kind of on the season a little bit. It's not over. You can still regroup. Hell, you can still win the SEC East, but that last night's performance was just it was abysmal. It was absolutely terrible. That was one of the worst performances I've seen them put on in the past 3 years. And I mean, there have been some bad ones. That was that looked like the Clemson game from last year, honestly, with the lack of effort. Just awful. Speaking of Clemson, flexed their muscle last night against Louisville, 47-21 victory on the road. When's the last time Louisville has been beaten like that at home? They haven't. I mean, it's just, and as a Gamecock supporter, and I'm an avid Clemson hater, but, I mean, I got to hand it to them. I mean, they just keep on reloading with people. They just keep reloading. Bryant looks like a good replacement for Watson. I don't think Deshaun Watson did tweet out something I saw where Kelly Bryant, it said, "Mark my words, he's going to be better than me." I think that's a little bit false, and that was just Deshaun kind of giving some false props there to Kelly Bryant. He's not Deshaun Watson, but a good replacement for him, no doubt. And he has good players around him. Let's just say that. He's not a one-man show. They're on the fast track to win that ACC Atlantic again. I don't see anybody challenging them for it. I don't think Florida State's going to challenge for it this year. I think they're just too far behind the curve right now. Especially DeAndre going down, and then they haven't played, it doesn't seem like, in a month due to whatever. They're just the new guys not getting any repetition out there in game situations. It's just not a good situation for them. Their biggest test is going to be 2 weeks from now against this bunch, Virginia Tech, which I picked to cover the spread yesterday against East Carolina. They did. They absolutely manhandled East Carolina. I don't think they have the skilled people to compete with Clemson. I do think Clemson is going to win that game in 2 weeks in Blacksburg, but I'm hoping against hope that Virginia Tech finds some way to pull it out. They do match up well with them along the lines, and they're a much more physical team than what Clemson has faced. And also gave them a stiff challenge in the ACC championship game last December in Orlando. Oregon State and Washington State, that one was a miss. I don't know a lot about either one of those teams, to be honest with you. Mike Leach's bunch was a big win there. Purdue and Missouri did not cover the spread on that one. When I saw this game, I had fear running down the back of my spine about that later that evening's game between Carolina and Missouri. I said, "Oh man," I'm like, this bunch is just getting it laid on them by freaking Purdue. And we struggled with them for a half, and all that came around full circle, and turned out my fears were realized. Purdue really looks good this year. Missouri looks just awful. They're probably the worst team in the SEC right now. And Utah State at Wake Forest was 13.5 favorite at home. And I did pick them to cover the spread. They did just that. Wake Forest is somebody to be reckoned with. They may be the second best team in the ACC Atlantic. No lie. I mean, I'm not lying there and being facetious and giving them some false props. Wake Forest looks good. Their quarterback and that they're explosive. And Utah State is not, just some, like an FCS school or anything. They're decent. They've had some decent wins, but Wake Forest. I think Wake Forest is definitely, obviously, better than Boston College. I think they're better than Syracuse or NC State. The fact remains to be seen if they're better than Louisville or not. I think that they certainly could be, and definitely could be better than Florida State as well. We'll find out. I think they play them next week. All right, guys, that's Carolina jackpot time. Calling it quits for week number 3. Hopefully, week number 4. I can produce some more victories. Right now at 20-20 for the season. Still got a lot of work to do. I appreciate y'all watching. Go on ahead, hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed what you saw today. There will be plenty more of this coming. The season has just begun. I'll see y'all later. Peace. And I'm out. Go Gamecocks.